Good time. We feeling alright. Weather's good. I'm down for it all. Phone off. I won't answer calls. I'ma take a trip to the mall and buy everything that I saw. The vibe is good. I hope it's understood. Enjoy the sunlight. We all wish you would. It's on to the next. We all truly blessed. We know life's a mess, but take away all the stress. And every single day we getting tested. Believe and know that you
Vibe Show 97.9 in full effect. I'm super excited. Happy Friday to everybody. Tonight we got an amazing, magical show tonight. I am super excited. A lot of gems. We're going to learn a lot tonight from my guest that's coming up tonight. So listen, y'all make sure that you got your popcorn, go get your waters or whatever you like to enjoy while enjoying a show and keep it locked in. It's the Vibe Show 97.9. Ooh. Yep, Vibe Show 97.9. I'm your host, Keno the Don, the Vibe King, man. And tonight, like I told y'all, this one was going to be a treat. I'm super excited about my special guest that's joining us tonight. When I tell you, she is a go-getter and wears multiple hats. An amazing resume. I mean, it's just simply amazing. And it's truly an honor to have her grace the show tonight. I'm talking about Emmy award-winning host and best-selling author, the very lovely Samantha Harris.
Hello. Thank
Hey.
you. What a nice intro and so awesome to be here with you. I'm so excited to do this with you.
Listen, Samantha, I have to just thank you from me and the team, because when I tell you this is not only is it big for the show, but it's really an honor though, because you're really a great human being, and you have blessed us for so many years just with all of the service and work that you have put in, and it's just truly amazing, like just to have you on the show. So for me and my team, I just want to just say thank you so much for your time.
Oh, that's right back at you. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely. So now I'm excited. I got a lot of things I wanna talk to you about. I admire you on so many different levels. Just kind of being in the similar spaces at points in your life. And I've went back and watched countless things of your work, and I've just been blown away by all of your accomplishments. So I definitely admire you on so many different levels. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you. Thank you. So kind. Thank you.
So growing up in Minnesota, and moving to LA, making a decision to move to LA, I would like to jump in a time machine and go back, and just to give my listeners, I want them to really get it. You know what I mean? So can we go back a little bit on the beginning of your journey?
Absolutely. Well, so yeah, I was this Minnesota kid who had a very unusual Minnesota kid upbringing, because my dad actually produced all the rock concerts that came to town. So I
Wow.
literally grew up backstage. This is, I was an 80s baby. So, 70s baby, 80s kid. So I was backstage at, it was Duran Duran, Cyndi Lauper, Rick Springfield, U2, right? All that my birthday party for my 18th birthday party, I think, was backstage at a Paula Abdul concert, having cake and ice cream before the show. So it was a very surreal childhood for someone in Minnesota. Living in LA around celebrities now, it's not, it's just usual to walk down the street and see someone. But back then, and then during the summertime, my parents actually created one of the country's first Renaissance festivals called King Richard's Fair. And so my mom and sister still run it to this day. My dad's name was Richard. They named it after him. And they played the roles of the king and queen in the early days. And then business became a big business. So they got busy running the business. And I got to spend my summer times literally frolicking around this early English village with jesters and minstrels and turkey legs. And it was a really fantastic childhood. So no surprise that I chose the entertainment world to be in for my career. Right.
Definitely. So, that right there. So that makes sense to me. Because it's like you move so fluently and so seasoned with everything that you do. So, would you attribute that to, growing up sort of in the business? You know what I mean? Your parents and were already kind of, dibbling and dabbling in that and creating something amazing. So would you say that helped?
I think 100%. But basically, I chose the on-camera path. My sister chose the behind-the-scenes production path, running the Renaissance Fair with my mom and after my dad passed of cancer. And so, really, there's no other choice. I mean, there was a choice. There were plenty of choices, but it was in my blood so early on. And I think also the thing, being backstage with all of these rock stars so early in my childhood, made me see from an early time that they're just people doing the job that they love, entertaining people. And so I think that helped when I transitioned, especially into celebrity news and working at Entertainment Tonight and Access Hollywood and Extra, and obviously Dancing with the Stars with all those celebrities. They were just people doing a job that they love doing, a darn good job of it. But that, I think, really helped.
It's funny that you say that too, because just from all of your years of experience in the business, in the entertainment business, would you say that makes for the best person in the art form with doing something that they really, really love? Do you think that increases the ability and skill set when you're actually doing something that you really, really enjoy doing?
Well, I think that goes for truly any career, to really love. I mean, they always say, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And there is such truth to that. And no matter how much you're living your dream job, look, there are days that feel like work. But really, when you have a passion and you have a calling, that really tends to bleed into the other people's lives who you're touching in a great way.
Right. Now, the transition from Minnesota to LA, that had to be like a culture shock in a way, right?
There were no cows to tip over in the pastures here in LA. No. By the way, I never, when everyone else went cow tipping, I did not tip the cows. I thought they were too cute and that was too mean. Just FYI. But look, I lived in the suburbs of Minneapolis, so it wasn't really like I was out living in a farm area anyhow, but you didn't have to drive far to hit one. So really, LA, my grandfather on my dad's side was a studio executive. He worked for Columbia Pictures and TriStar as in distribution. So nothing, too fancy in terms of being on the set or anything like that. He was an office guy, a suit as they called him. But because my grandparents lived out in LA, I actually came out every summer for a week to visit. So I was very comfortable in LA. But then in college, when I was at Northwestern University in Chicago, I spent a summer. I had secured an internship actually at Entertainment Tonight.
What? Wait a minute, Samantha. Now hold up now. That's huge. That's huge.
I
Wow.
was anytime the interns came around when I was always sitting in the anchor chair, many years later, the interns would come around and I'd say, hey, I was an intern here once too. You could be in the anchor chair in another decade. You never know. You got to set your dreams and your sights on it and pursue it. And that's what I wanted so much. It was to be able to be Mary Hart. And then before I knew it, not before I knew it, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and pounding the pavement for years. I won't kid you. But then eventually I was her permanent fill-in for the last year of her job after her 20th year at Entertainment Tonight.
Wow. See that's what I'm saying. Magical things happen. At what point, did you really like figure it all out as far as like, because I feel like you had purpose and certain things that you wanted to do, but I feel like you've done so much. I mean, I just, the magazine covers wouldn't even stop. Like I was just like, like really, really just blown away and impressed and motivated even more and inspired. But like, did you have your vision set on a certain thing in the entertainment business, or you kind of went with it and things just started to happen organically?
That's a great question. When I was 12 in Minneapolis, I actually asked my parents for an agent. I said, can you guys find me an agent? I need to work. And
Right.
I started, Minneapolis, even though it's not one of the biggest cities in the country, it has a lot of headquarters there, from General Mills to 3M to Cargill. And so there was a Target, Delta Airlines, which used to be Northwest Airlines. And so there was a lot of work, commercial work, print work. So I started to work and I squirreled away that money. It was my savings. So when I moved out to LA, I had a nice little kitty of money that I had made from the time I started doing that at 12. But there was something that was innate. I just wanted to be in front of people. I wanted to be on camera. I thought when I was younger that I wanted to act and I wanted to be a movie star and be,
Right.
and then my dad said something interesting to me that at the time I remember being horribly offended. He told me, Samantha, here's me wanting to be a big actress. He said, Samantha,
Right.
you are so good on camera being yourself. And I was horrified. I thought, well, I have to be somebody else. I'm an actress. You got to be a character, not me. But at the time, look, this was the time when if you were yourself on camera, you were either a news anchor, network or local, right? Or there was Entertainment Tonight and then VJs on MTV and VH1. And that was it. There was no reality TV shows. There were no TV personalities. There were no TV hosts. So to be on camera and yourself was a very limiting career idea. So when I moved out to Los Angeles finally after graduation, I pounded the pavement for 6 years as an actor, and door after door after door slammed in my face. But I had a reel, basically a little sizzle reel, a promo reel of my work at a news station in Minneapolis, because at Northwestern, as a journalism major, you needed to work full time one semester at a TV station or a newspaper. So of course I chose a TV station and I was able to get tape on myself. So all of a sudden, all these new cable stations were popping up.
Right.
They needed programming. And what did they do? They started having reality shows and different dating games and all the different competition shows. Right. And that's what ended up happening, that I started to find myself, instead of the acting auditions where maybe 2, if that, out of 10 auditions I would get a call back, I found myself all of a sudden having my theatrical agents, my movie and TV agents, send me on hosting auditions, and 9 out of 10 I would have a call back. That's what my dad meant.
Right. Shout out to Pops for seeing that as well. Coming in the business at the time that you came in the business, a lot of things have changed. And you've been around to witness those changes in the business. As far as inspirations, though, once you actually got in, started getting your feet wet, could you name some of your inspirations, some of the people that inspired you the most?
Well, I think because I did really want to be in entertainment news, but I was afraid, honestly, because I thought that and I thought acting was my calling. I didn't realize entertainment news was my calling. So I used to watch Mary Hart and Nancy O'Dell, both of whom I ended up working alongside because I worked at Access Hollywood, and then Nancy eventually took over for Mary Hart at Entertainment Tonight.
Right.
And I would watch them deliver their entertainment news segments, their intros and outros out in, while they were on, and I would verbatim with their cadence repeat what they said. And it was sort of my way, when you hear someone who never spoke English and they came to this country and you say, how did you learn English? And they said, oh, I watched TV. Well, right. I kind of did that to figure out what my cadence was before I found my own voice, which took a little while, a couple of years into my TV hosting career, to find my own voice for my voiceovers and my presenting on air as well.
Wow. And see that's what I'm saying. You're like a walking testament of how dreams do come true. I want to ask you this though. Do you think that and I ask myself this all the time too. I never want to because as a kid, we dream and inspire to be certain things or whatever. And I feel like sometimes as life kick in, we get older and we're going along in life or whatever, those dreams kind of like die out in a way or whatever. And, I still try to keep my dreams alive. I'm doing it right now. Do you feel like, in a way, we should still dream. We should still have dreams, right?
We should absolutely still have dreams. We can also keep reinventing ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I think too, when our trajectory changes, whether it's that left turn you didn't see coming comes at you, be open to embracing change or a different path that you may not have envisioned for yourself, but ends up potentially taking you to a road less traveled, but more fulfilling.
Right. And another thing that I super admire about you is, you're a health guru in a way to me. And I've learned a lot just being introduced to, your brand and being introduced to you as well, because I've seen you, watched you on television, watched you at so many award shows, hosting, doing all different types of amazing things that I inspire and admire as well. But I feel like on your health journey and your coaching, that's a whole different thing right there. Talk to me about your passion for wanting to create that lane as well and go in that direction. You're real strong.
Well, it's something like I said, the left turn sometimes happens. The path you didn't know was before you all of a sudden opens up, and magical things can happen. And sometimes those magical things actually are born out of turmoil, out of challenge, and in my case, out of disease. So I'd love to share a little bit about.
Absolutely. I would love it.
So here I was on top of my game, hosting Dancing with the Stars, starring on Broadway in the musical Chicago, hosting Entertainment Tonight, all these fun shows. My family had begun. I had a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, a wonderful marriage with my amazing husband, and bam, 40 years old, breast cancer.
Oh my God.
Did not see that coming. You mentioned the magazine covers. I was literally the picture of health. Here I was with my, I feel so proud of the fit body that I have been able to discover and uncover within myself that I didn't know was there when I was growing up. And I thought I was healthy. I thought I was eating the right way. I thought I was exercising for the right reasons. I didn't realize the toxins that were in my life, from stress to beauty products, that were wreaking havoc on my body in ways that really so many of us don't realize. Right. And so I mentioned earlier in the broadcast that my dad died of cancer. So he died of colon cancer at 50.
I'm sorry to hear that too.
Me too. He was, he was the light of the world. He was, the one that walks into a room and everyone goes to him. And I'm so glad that I now have kids that I'm raising, and I see the light of him in them.
Right.
And what I learned was that my breast cancer actually had no connection to his cancer, because sometimes there's a breast and colon connection.
Right.
And I became a national ambassador for Susan G. Komen, the Breast Cancer Foundation.
Right.
And I learned from them that 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with invasive breast cancer over the course of her lifetime, but only 5 to 10% are hereditary.
Really?
It's shocking, right?
Right.
So, and I will say too, something else that's shocking, that even though white and Black women are diagnosed the most with breast cancer versus any other race. White
Right.
women more so than Black women and African American women, but African American women are dying at a higher rate because of their access to care, their access to the knowledge and prevention, and also the aggression. The disease tends to be more aggressive when African American women are diagnosed, which is all the more reason we have to become our own best health advocates. We need to get those mammograms, which, by the way, are not preventative. They're just early diagnosis.
Right.
So what can we do to have prevention in our lives? And so when I learned that only 5 to 10% of these breast cancers are hereditary, I leaned into my journalism background. I researched everything I possibly could. And I learned it is what we put in, on, and around our body that affect our genetic code, that turn on or off certain genes and DNA strands. So it's the lifestyle and habit choices that we're making that control a lot of not just cancers, but heart disease, which is still the #1 killer of men and women in America, and also diabetes.
Sam, like, and that's what I wanted to ask you too, because, as we're older now.
Yes, we are.
And, but, at the same time, it's almost like now, with learning so much stuff, and you realize you like, what's healthy? Like, I mean, all the things that we were consuming and all, lotions and powders and then years later, all these things are being revealed. This is bad for you. Well, this is bad for you too. We're hearing things about milk. We're hearing things about water, for God's sakes. What I mean? It's like, what is healthy these days? What can we actually really mentally trust like that?
Well, and it can be dizzying because we have such conflicting information out there. Should we be eating paleo? Should we be eating vegan? Should we be, all the different dietary theories, not to mention everything else you mentioned, that you just said. So really what it is a couple of things. First, we have to know what works for our own bodies the best. We're all bio individuals. So you asked earlier about sort of this transition that I took, and breast cancer was my transition. That was my aha moment.
Right.
I am living a life that I could have better control of. I can elevate my wellness and take even better control to feel better and also be around for my kids and my grandkids eventually. So what can I do and how can I make those choices and changes? And there didn't seem to be any book that could just sort of tell me. There were a lot of gurus who got up on their soapbox to tell me what I had to do, but they all conflicted. So what I did is I wrote a book that debuted as a bestseller on Amazon in 2018 called Your Healthiest Healthy. And it's more of a guide, like a girlfriend's guide to, here are some basic principles for how we all should eat. And then from that, figure out what works for you. What do you need a little more of in your life? What do you enjoy? And when you're living in sort of the 90-10 rule or even the 80-20 rule of eating more healthfully, but still enjoying those things. If you want to have that one, glass of wine at night, okay, well, then what does that do? And understand the science behind it is that, why any alcohol elevates your risk of breast cancer and some other cancers. So, where are you in that? Do you want to eat meat? Okay, what kind of meat? Where are you sourcing it? Is it grass-fed and pasture-raised, or is it right down from the street from the deli that it's deli sliced and full of sodium and nitrates and carcinogens? And then stress is a huge has a huge effect. I became a certified health coach because I care so much about helping other people. And I work specifically with a lot of women, but men as well, who want to elevate their wellness, who are saying, you know what, I'm sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, or I'm sick and tired of having brain fog and low energy, or I don't want to get the diabetes, the cancer, and the heart disease that my parents, my grandparents, my cousin, my aunt and uncle, whatever it is, got. I want to take better control. And so I'm here to say you can.
How important is it? Because I'm finding myself, just being tapped into a lot of tips that you share, even within your social media pages, which I really, really appreciate that. How important now, you mentioned something though, about the importance of reading the labels and really understanding what we are consuming within our bodies. How important is it with reading the labels?
It's paramount. It is when we educate ourselves, we then have the power once we have the knowledge. So it's not just about reading the labels on your foods, which is very essential, but it also means reading the labels on your products. What is in your shampoo and your lotion for the ladies or men? What's in your makeup, right? What are you putting on your body every single day? So here's a really interesting thing I found shocking. Your European Union bans about 1,400 different substances as either carcinogens, known carcinogens, endocrine disruptors. Those are things that are nasty and mess with your hormones, and we don't want to mess with our hormones, right, or even neurotoxins. And they ban 1,400 different ingredients because they fall into one of those categories. The US, up until only a few years ago, banned only 11. I think now we're maybe finally up to about 30. And the United States government has not updated our standards of what they require companies to do since 1938.
Wow.
And they, it's all about big money. All these big corporations just, they have their shareholders. They need to make sure they're showing that they're bringing in a lot of money, but they don't care about the consumers. So we as consumers need to basically bully them back with our wallets and say, well, we're not going to buy your products. And I'm not letting my family put that on their bodies or that in their mouths.
Right. Sam, what would you consider a good healthy diet though, that you can share with us?
Well, again, I think we are all bio-individuals. So the one thing that we can all do, and that any guru who touts whatever diet that they want to talk about will agree, that for longevity, for reducing risk of diseases, chronic diseases, autoimmune disorders, neurodegenerative, right? Dementia, Alzheimer's, all of those things that so many people are getting more and more these days, would agree that a plant-based whole foods foundation. So, when you sit down to breakfast, lunch, dinner, and you think to yourself, okay, before I just go on autopilot and I grab that donut and the coffee, or I dive headfirst into that steak and pasta, how can I add more veggies and plant-based foods into my life? And when we get nuts and seeds and legumes and beans and non-starchy vegetables, especially, which basically means the white potatoes would be a starchy vegetable. They turn to sugar a lot faster, spike your glucose, which is your blood sugar. And that ends up leading to something called insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is when our body is out of whack. It's what leads to diabetes. And it's so prevalent these days. The numbers, do you know that the US population, over 50% of the US population of adults is already obese or morbidly obese.
Right.
Over 70% of adults in the US over age 18, over 70% are at least overweight or obese. And now we're seeing statistics unlike we ever have before that 20% of children ages 2 to 12 are obese.
Right. I was just about to say that because I'm starting to see that. And I don't really remember that growing up. Like everybody was lean and you know what I mean? Like I just don't remember seeing a lot of obesity from kids. Now let me ask you this, Sam. Do you think that, because then again too, when we were growing up, we were explorers, more explorers. We were outside more. We consumed more sun. Now devices have taken over, the internet, social media. We're in this social based, internet based world that we're living in right now. And a lot of the kids, bikes are have dust on them. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you feel about that though, as far as, because a lot of kids just don't want to go outside anymore.
They don't. And look, my girls are now 11 and 14, and I have the same issues, right? Everyone wants to be on a device. We are so sedentary, and adults are no better, right? We go from our car to sitting on the couch to surfing Netflix or surfing the internet and binging and sitting in front of a computer at work all day. And so we also, as adults, are sedentary. I know as a kid, man, I was either on my bike going as far away from home as possible because
Seriously.
it was fun and I was free, or I was making forts across the street in the forest that was there. I mean, right? There was no other choice. Kids today don't know what to do. And again, even as a parent, I'm as much at fault of trying to figure out how to get them off those freaking devices. I mean, TikTok, come on.
It's just taking over. It's really scary in a way though, because I feel like, also that it's affecting their social skills, as well, because nobody really likes to actually talk anymore, or it's kind of dividing that physical presence within humanity, as well. It's creating, it's bullying on a whole nother level now. I don't know, it's just coming from the era that I grew up in and you grew up in, and then seeing it now. It's a lot of amazing things. I know that we have to evolve, but I still like some of the old values and old principles from our era, as well, that I still try to incorporate within, with my kids as well.
Now, how old are your kids?
Now I'm looking at, I have a 7-year-old. My oldest son is 27, and then I have a 15-year-old, and I have a 13-year-old.
Okay. Oh, you got a full house there. It is challenging. I think, look, not only devices, but also what's happening now. I'm so lucky that I had grandmothers. My dad's mom was a breast cancer survivor, postmenopausal, so there's no connection between hers and mine, but she lived to 95. My other grandmother in Minnesota is still living at 97, and just now starting to get a little bit, more of the dementia setting in, but really just in the last year or two, it's really incredible. So I think, okay, on the one hand, there's great genes. On the other hand, our food sources for us and for our kids are completely different than they were back then in the early 19s. She was born in 1924, so in the early to mid 1900s. And so that's another big concern that we have. When we can go back to more of a whole food, plant-based diet, and unfortunately our soil doesn't have the nutrients that it once had, so sometimes supplementation is still important. But when we are if we're just eating the frankenfoods, the non-foods, the packaged goods that we're seeing all the time in the grocery store, that's where we're at risk of higher instances of disease. And so what I love to say is we can elevate our wellness. We can live to be our healthiest healthy, but we have to be a participator in that.
Right. I absolutely agree with you on that. Let me ask you this though, with being in the entertainment business for so long, seeing so many of the transitions happen, seeing things grow, seeing companies not here anymore, and all of these things. How did you balance? Because people see the after effects of what's presented, but at the same time, it's still a lot of work, and we see a lot of people who, how could I say this? We see a lot of people can't really handle when the light dims a little bit or whatever. How were some of the things that you may have done to balance? Because this business moves fast. It's so much temptation. It's so much going on. How did you just manage to be able to maintain from a mental aspect and keep it together?
Well, I think resiliency and grit are things that we have to work at. And it's something that our kids don't have as much these days
Right,
because
right.
they're getting everything so quickly, so easily. So being able to teach resiliency and grit to our children is also can be something that's challenging. For me, again, door slam after door slam. I had so many rejections from the time I was 12 when I started auditioning. And I think that helped because it helped me build a thick skin, but it also helped me find that resilience, because when you are so passionate about something, as I was about having a career in this entertainment world, no one could tell me no. It
Right.
was, I think it was Einstein, or no, it wasn't Einstein. Thomas Edison. I believe when Thomas Edison finally invented the light bulb, and I think it took him something like 1,000 tries. I don't think I'm exaggerating. It was a lot. And what he saw was not each one as a failure, but another example of what didn't work. So he had to keep trying. And
Right.
I think that's really what the ticket is here. When it comes to our health and our wellness, if you've been doing fad diet after fad diet and they're not working, then it's saying, hey, wake up. It's time to pivot. It's not about a diet. It's not about a one quick fix. This is the long haul. You're in it for your life. You get one chance, one body, one vessel that's going to carry you through. So how do you want to treat yourself? When you start to, especially when it comes to food and drink liquids, whether it's alcohol or fruit juice, is what you're putting in your body serving you? Is it getting you closer to the goal, the end that you want? And when we can have that sort of vision for ourselves to figure out where we want to go, that helps make the decisions along the way a lot better. But back to the question about resiliency and how do you keep going? When I got my cancer diagnosis, I was riddled with an anxiety that I had never felt in my life.
Right.
And it felt so horrid. It felt like this vibrational, kinetic feeling that was coursing through my veins that at the same time had an elephant sitting on my chest, and I couldn't breathe and I couldn't move and I didn't know what to do. And after 3 weeks of feeling this horribly awful, awful way, I said to myself, and I don't know what possessed me to say this, but I said, I can't keep feeling this way. I don't know how long this cancer journey is going to go on. So I need to do something about it. And
Right.
in that moment, I chose to look at everything that came at me with a positive twist. Now, as a certified health coach now, I understand, oh, wait, that's called a positive mindset. And that is what helps us to get through the tough times. I mean, think about everyone in Ukraine right now. That's resiliency. That's grit. How do you find the hope? How do you find the turn? So in what's happening with us, whether it's a job loss, a divorce, a disease diagnosis, what can we do to find the gratitude in the small moments? What can we do to find the positivity in what seems to be an otherwise very dark and negative situation? And when we start to continually look for those positive things, what it does is actually it rewires our brain. And our brain has these synapses that are firing. And if we keep telling ourselves negative things, if we keep saying, I can't, I won't, it'll never happen, those are limiting beliefs that we're telling ourselves. And we believe that on a cellular level, even if we stop saying it out loud, and even if we stop thinking it, unless we change the dialogue with ourselves. So I said, you know what? Positive self-talk. What's good in this cancer situation? Okay, I had to dig deep. And then I realized, wait, I'm in otherwise really great shape, which is going to reduce the risk of complications and surgery. It's going to help me recover faster and get back in action into the game. Okay, great. That's awesome, Samantha. Keep talking. And I kept talking to myself. What else is great? Well, I've got great health insurance. Thank goodness. A lot of people don't have that. I've got a great support system with my husband and my sister and my in-laws and my mother and everybody. So all of that kept going. And now really that positive mindset is what carries me through when we got hit with COVID, when other job issues happen, and even just sitting in traffic. And I'm like, I'm not going to get there in time, right? And I let it go. I shake it off and I go, okay, but hey, my daughter's in the backseat. I get more time with her right now. And you change the conversation.
Wow. I like that.
I got to get one of those applause buttons at home. I think every time I do something awesome as a mom that my kids don't agree with, I'm going to hit the applause button so that at least someone's clapping.
Right. Let me ask you this. Now, how do you balance it? You know, is it ever a time where, you know, you can turn Samantha Harris, the celebrity, the Emmy award winning host, you know what I mean? Because it's like sometimes, you know, you do it so much, you know what I mean? It's like, do you have that turn off button where it's Samantha Harris, the mom, wife, daughter, sister, friend? Do you ever have time to turn it off?
That's a great question. Yes. I mean, I do. I think one of the things that growing up in Minnesota, I think gave me was I'm just a Minnesota girl at heart. I'm that girl who lived next door that just hangs out. And I never really got caught up in the whole Hollywood thing. Now, when the camera goes on, the lights are on, the mic's turned on, do I turn on professional? And now next up on this, yes, I do. That's my job, right? I mean, that's the job that I trained for. It's a job that I got paid for. And so, but then the second the lights go off and the camera's off, I would say I'm definitely more, TV's different now too. You know, now we can be truly ourselves.
I know. I like that. I know. I noticed that.
Yeah. Whereas before it was definitely, and now I put my Samantha Harris voice on, and now on Entertainment Tonight, and now it's a talk, and it's a much more, it's talking at people, which now is a lot different. And all now, so when my book, Your Healthiest Healthy, came out, I started doing wellness retreats. But then in January of 2021, I launched Your Healthiest Healthy community, which is a membership group where every week I do a live coaching session, a lot for health coaching, a live workout because I've been certified as a trainer for many years. Right, and also I bring in a live guest expert. I lead a live breathwork meditation. So now when that camera goes on, it's the same. It's like it is right now. It's this conversation that I'm having with the people on the other end of that camera lens. Whereas the TV shows before were a lot different and really required a composed different type of host than the talk shows and the host, the hosted shows really want now more so.
Right. Would you say that we're in a better place as far as the entertainment business space from when you came in to now, looking back at it? Would you change anything, or you like the space that it's in?
It's interesting. One thing that always frustrated me, because I trained to, I went to school, I went to journalism school, I learned the ropes, I learned how to write, I learned how to edit, I learned how to produce. I really was schooled and educated to become a television host.
Right.
And so the way that things have transitioned now, where a lot of people who are influencers, who have really only come up and they're on camera because they have one of these and they can just put the cell phone in front of them and be on camera, which on the one hand is super cool. On the other hand, it makes it really challenging for those of us who kind of went the old school route, right? Where I trained to do this. This is my profession. This was my med school, was going to journalism school. So to then see the transition of where those jobs are going now is just a different world. But what I love about where we are now in this on-camera world is that we have the ability to be, like we were just talking about, more ourselves, true to who we are. And that ability, what I do love about, I have a love-hate relationship with social media, as I'm sure most people do, right? Do you?
Right. Absolutely. I do. Absolutely.
So the one thing I don't love is that there's that constant pressure to feel that I have to always check it and what's happening. And did I post today? But at the same time, I've connected with so many. I mean, that's how we connected, right?
I know, right?
So incredible people. The fact that I am really accessible, by the way. You guys DM me or you comment.
That's surprising too, with the level that you're on. you know, and I think that's another thing that, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Please.
I had to say that that's another thing that I absolutely adore about you is like you're not Hollywood. You're Hollywood, but you're not Hollywood. Like you're really like a real organic person who really tries to connect with people. Like, you know, you respond, you thank people, you know. I just don't think that we should ever get, no matter how high we go or our achievements, I just don't think that we should ever forget the bridge, which is the fans, the supporters. I don't think that we should ever get that big to where we just don't respond. Sometimes, you know, we're the time is not on our side in this business,
Right.
but I always try to make it a business, make it my business to always thank people who took time out of their busy schedule or our time out of their day to even like something I posted or like the interview or left a comment. That's a lot in today's time in 2022 for somebody to do that. And I just value people like that.
I think that's a really important thing that you're saying. And look, I understand for those people on social media who have millions of followers and have maybe tens of thousands of people who are leaving DMs or comments. Obviously, there's not enough time in the day, and they have to live their lives and do their job and be there for their family. So I think there's a balance. And so I don't have millions of followers, so I'm happy. And thankfully, I get to see everybody's comments. So there you go. But I think there's something really great about that. And in terms of being able to not miss. I mean, I'm sure there are things that I miss, but for the most part, not really being able to connect. Because what I found is that there are a lot of stories that have been shared with me. Other, especially having gone through breast cancer myself, a lot of breast cancer survivors, or I like to say thrivers, reach out to me, and being able to add support and knowledge and information for them as they start their journey is really important. Because look, whether it's breast cancer like me or a diagnosis of diabetes or heart disease, there are so many things that we can do to take back our control and not give up control and be resigned to say, well, now I have that disease and I'm that person, because there's so much more we can do to really take back our power.
Right. Your website is amazing. And for the listeners on the air, if you guys want to get connected, make sure that you log on to www.samantha dash that's slash no it's not slash
hyphen
harris.com. That's www.samantha-harris.com. Your website is amazing, and it's full of everything there. It's very, very well put together, might I add, too. Everything is there.
Yes, thank you. And it's so fun too. I just launched my next retreat, which is in Utah in November. And so there's a coaching menu. If you guys are interested and you want to learn about the retreat, the coaching menu has the retreat on the drop down. But if you want to just get a little dose of me, or maybe if you want a lot of me, but that might be too much, all week, because I'm giving so much to my wellness community, your Healthiest Healthy community. It's really accessible for anyone to join. And I am with you. Literally, I know every member, and we see each other. Some people show up 3 times a week, 4 times a week. Other people show up a couple times a month, but we get to really build community and support and wellness together.
Right. Sam, what I know you got so much stuff going on. What can we look forward to? I know you got something. You're always cooking. You're always doing something. What can we look forward to? Any big projects that you got coming?
Well, I'm working on a few different things. I'll be traveling the country possibly in the next, hopefully I'll be back in Dallas where you are, as I am a keynote speaker around the country for different organizations, corporations, and nonprofits as well. And the work that I do with Susan G. Komen. But really my heart and soul is in your Healthiest Healthy community. So every week, the live coaching, the live workouts, the live meditation and breath work, and these top-notch medical experts. Every time, it's so interesting. So I have these New York Times best-selling medical experts who've written these incredible books on. And I say, yes, I've interviewed everyone from Lady Gaga to Tom Cruise, but where I geek out over interviewing these medical experts, because they're literally helping us live better and longer. To me, that's a rock star.
Right. And That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I'm rocking out right now interviewing you. Like, this is just like, this is really, really, really a huge moment for me. I'm not gonna lie. Let's get some shout outs. You got an amazing team, a beautiful family, so much support out there. Let's give some roses out to anybody that you want to give a shout out to, fans. Let's just show some love right now. Anybody.
Ah, I love it. Well, I'm all about gratitude and love. And in the morning meditation breath work we do, they always say to put your hands on your heart, to have a little heart brain coherence, and think about someone who affects your life that you can elevate to the place of gratitude. And my husband is my rock and my partner in everything I do. And also my mom. I mean, look, we got to give a shout out to the moms. I
Gotta
mean,
give a shout out to mom.
she's done so much for everything in my life, and my sister. And then because I'm not in Dallas, but my friend Amberly Lago, who just left, she's a Texan. She just left living in California nearby me and is back there in Texas, in Dallas. So she's an amazing soul. If you guys are around the Dallas area, check Amberly Lago out. Talk about inspiration. She's incredible.
Oh yeah, we might have to get her on here as well. I'll definitely get with you on making that connection. That will be amazing.
Yeah, she's
With everything in closing, with everything that it's been a rocky 2 years. We're going into COVID. We got this thing going on in Ukraine. Prayers out for all the families out there, all the people that's being affected by that. We just got so much stuff going on at one time. Gas prices are out the roof. Anybody, a lot of people lost a lot of jobs throughout all of this, lost a lot of loved ones. For anybody that may be low in spirit and just need a kind word or some words of encouragement or uplift, can you leave them with some words? Can you leave them with some words of uplift before we get out of here?
Oh, I sure can. I want to just, first of all, from my heart to yours, I send you so much love. There is so much that you can do to take control of your day to day, from finding gratitude in even the small things, from the birds chirping to the smile on a baby's face that might pass by in a stroller. And then, of course, what your body can do, finding that gratefulness for what your body can do for you. Can it take you farther? Are your legs carrying you as you walk through your day? Just reach out, put those hands right on your thighs and give them a nice little rub and say, thank you, thighs. Really appreciate all the little things that you have in your life, because when we celebrate the small moments, we thrive. And the more empowered you become as a consumer, reading your labels and eating more, I know, just like every mom, eat your vegetables, but eating your vegetables, you'll thrive and live a longer, healthier, stronger life and live your healthiest healthy.
Wow. I want to, that was amazing. Thank you so much for that. I want to say from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you so much again. You're such an amazing human being. Just organic, positive energy that we really need in these times that we're living in right now, that's filled with so much hate, jealousy, envy. We just living in some bad times right now, and we need that energy. And I think that you are very necessary out here in the world. And I want to thank you again. For me and my entire team, we want to say thank you so much, and that we love you. We're super proud of you, and we're wishing you more blessings and more success with everything that you're doing right now and everything that you're going to be doing in the future. We love you.
Thank you so much. And you mentioned something with all the negativity and the haters out there. There are life givers and there are life takers. Surround yourself with the life givers. And who do you want to be in someone else's life? It's something to think about. Are you the positive person or are you the negative Nelly? Make that choice.
Wow. Let's put those social platforms out there in ways that people can actually get connected with you. You're very, very accessible. Let's put that information out there where people can actually follow you, get connected, and reach out for any gems that they may need to pick up.
Absolutely. So really at Samantha Harris TV, like television, Samantha Harris TV on both Instagram and Facebook. DM me, comment on my posts, and I'll make sure to hit you back. And if I miss it for some reason, just hit me again. It probably just meant that it went by for some reason and I didn't grab it, but I'll make sure that I get back to you.
Absolutely, Sam. We got to get you back on here again. You know, once you do the Vibe Show, you are a part of the Vibe family.
Yes.
We have you back. We're going to support you to the end. Again, thank you so much. Let's shout out a few people that was actually on the live chat before we get out of here. I like to show love. Shout out to J Creative Grounds. Thank you so much, Queen, for showing my special guest so much love. Shout out to let me make sure y'all forgive me. I'm not that well with names. Is it Karima Johnson? If I said it wrong, please forgive me. Thank you so much for showing my special guest so much love. Shout out to Laddie Phoenix Creative Grounds. Appreciate that love. Thank you so much. Shout out to Roots. Appreciate that love. And everybody that's on the radio listening right now, thank y'all so much for tuning in, showing so much love. Y'all already know it's the Vibe Show 97.9. If you are not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, turn on those notifications. Please share this amazing interview. This is definitely one for the books. And you guys make sure that you log on to Samantha's website. It's full. It's everything that you need is there. That's www.samantha-harris.com. If you are not subscribed to the Vibe Show, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also log on to our official radio station website. That's www.thevibeshow979.net, where we're playing the hits old and new 24/7. Me and Samantha, we are out of here. We love y'all. Y'all already know my slogan: more love, less hate makes the world a better place. Love you, Sam.
Thank you.